From the Oklahoman newsroom, this is a Thunder update. I'm Jenny Carlson here with Brett Dawson. Brett, Thunder is out in the Golden State, which may or may not be too good for them, considering the fact that their three-point defense has really been a struggle of late. Was even before Andre Roberson got injured, but has become even more so now. And obviously the Warriors make a living from the three-point line. So how does this stack up for the Thunder tonight?
Yeah, they do. Problematic for the Thunder that you've got three guys in Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, who make more threes combined in an average game than the Thunder does.
Right.
Not a great sign. You mentioned that this problem goes back to pre-Andre Roberson. The teams are shooting about 43% over the last 8 games. That includes Roberson, averaging about 13 three-pointers made per game. They've had 2 games where they've given up 16. They've given up more than 13, I think 5 times in those 8 games. And it's a product of, we all know Andre Roberson is a great defender on the ball. We've seen it. We've watched it happen. We've seen him defend James Harden and LeBron James and whoever else in the league they've put him on. What we're learning a lot more now is how important he is in terms of a team defender, what he means to what they do as a team, what he means in terms of help, rotations, the way he closes out on shooters, the way he forces the ball where they want it to go. All these things are really important to a defense being effective. And he's such a key piece of that. They've really had a hard time replacing all those attributes.
Well, it seems like there's not many guys that you can look at, even if the Thunder were to execute a trade. There's not many guys that do all the things that he does. It was going to take everybody doing a little bit more, and I think you might have made the comment at one point over the weekend that instead of doing more, it seems like guys are defensively doing less. So is there, I'm not looking for quick answers, but is there at least some small things that can be done to help address this?
Well, defense starts on the ball, and Russell Westbrook has been good at times this year. He's been really dialed in at times, and at times he hasn't. He's got to be more consistent because it's just that falls on the point guard. And the problem now without Roberson is your other backcourt player is right now when you start a game, it's Terrence Ferguson. He's a 19-year-old, generously listed at 185-pound rookie who's going to have a hard time with physical guards, even with quick guards, with understanding where a screen's coming from and how to get over it and being strong enough to fight through it. There are a lot of things he doesn't do well right now, as is natural. You'd expect him to get way better at those things, and they're very high on his ceiling defensively. But for right now, you've got a guy like that out there. Russell Westbrook's really got to pick up the slack. He can't have real off nights defensively, and he still has those.
You mentioned Terrence Ferguson being out there for starters. What about for finishers? It seems like right now that's still a work in progress, and it might depend on matchups and different things, but what's your best guess about how the Thunder looks to finish games with this defense?
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting. I mean, the guy who finishes these games ultimately may not be here yet. It might be something that changes at the trade deadline on Thursday. But, you know, right now they've tried Josh Huestis there. They've tried Jeremy Grant there. The problem with the Thunder really is the things that look pretty good offensively don't look very good defensively, and vice versa. Huestis is a pretty good defender, but defenses don't respect him as a shooter, even to the degree that they respect Ferguson. He's a poor decision maker. You know, I go back to the Washington game where they're in a very close game and they need to make plays. Josh Huestis misses Paul George in the corner. He tries to put the ball on the floor and shovel a pass in that he can't make, and it's a turnover. He's got some problematic offensive issues. He can defend. He defends better than Ferguson. Jeremy Grant is kind of a little bit of a mix there. The problem is you're playing 2 bigger guys in Grant and Carmelo Anthony together. Neither one of those guys is kind of great at chasing and following guys around screens. That's also a problem for Patrick Patterson. So they don't have a guy who does all the things you need to do. And what we've understood, I think, too, over the last week or so, is that Andre Roberson is a really valuable offensive player, even though he's not a really good offensive player. He doesn't do things he can't do. He stays on the move. If you have him out there because of the way he cuts, you don't give Steph Curry, for example, a day off defensively. With some of these other guys, he can really relax. And so that's a problem, too. That's going to be a work in progress until maybe Ferguson comes along or maybe they make a move.
All right, 2 things to be mindful of, Thunder fans. A 9:30 start Tuesday night against the Warriors, and then that trade deadline, it comes up on Thursday afternoon, 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock?
I believe it's 3 o'clock.
Eastern?
I believe it's 3 o'clock Eastern.
2 o'clock here in Oklahoma, yeah. Anyway, Thursday afternoon, we'll be tracking all that to see if the Thunder does pull the trigger on any moves as the trade deadline approaches. Be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoman.